Exactly.
So we're going to be talking about modern day feminism. Okay. So a little bit of history. Basically, there's been like three waves of feminism already, right? So the first one started with the women's suffrage movement. It kind of coincided with like the Industrial Revolution. And that was to basically let the world know that women are also legal entities by themselves without a man, which I find I don't think there's an issue with that at all. I think the intent was a good one. Especially since, during that time, women weren't allowed to do a lot of the things that we can now. So I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, so basically, like women were like second class citizens. Well, not even that.
Yeah, not
Sometimes,
even sometimes. Yeah.
Uh,
I don't even think, if I know properly, I don't even think women had a whole lot of rights during that time. Couldn't
no,
get a job. Definitely couldn't get a job.
and even if they decided to try to go to the bank, they couldn't get nothing signed off without their husbands and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
there definitely is and was some positivity to
Yeah.
come out of feminism.
No bodily autonomy, all of that. And like the thing is, you had to be married to function in society. I'm all for marriage. I'm all for marriage.
Me
Y'all
too.
know that. But the thing about it is, if you weren't married, you were considered this word that I haven't heard since like ever, a spinster.
A Spencer, what is that?
A spinster, it's like an unmarried woman from
Oh,
that time period. Yeah. Basically, yeah.
like a harlot.
I think so. I think they were the same thing. I think they were,
Yeah.
but I can't really remember. But
That would kind of suck because if you like not the, I mean, I'm quite sure looks played a big role, and also just where you were in the hierarchy of, hey, this person that is like the sheriff or something like that, and like if you wasn't up with the uppities or the Johnsons, you probably wasn't about to get married or be. Yeah.
yeah, that's actually funny you say that, because the first wave of feminism, when all that was going on, it was mainly giving more rights to white women during that time. It didn't really include black women. In fact, I think slavery was still also in play at that time too. So this women's suffrage movement really only applied to white women during that time. And so the second wave of feminism really played more on race and class. And so that was when, women finally had the right to vote, but now it was between, having the right to get lines of credit in your name and the right to more bodily autonomy and things like that. So it shifted a lot during that time. Still think it was completely relevant, because I don't believe other ethnicities of women were really involved during the first wave of feminism, which is why I said most of the privileges during that time applied to just white women.
I mean,
But
if you really think about it, there really wasn't like any segue for any other, race or background to even, have, just that voice or whatever. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you had to have this specific group to basically speak for all women, so.
yeah, I do. I really do think, everything happens for a reason, and you just got to have those smaller groups that kind of make way for those other groups. I mean, that is what it is. It's fine, And so, yeah, I think the second wave feminism kind of played more into like the race and in class, because it was more so talking to women of like middle and lower classes and other ethnicities, which is a really good thing. Third wave happened more so in the 60s and 70s, and it kind of coincided with like the sexual revolution. And that's kind of when you saw like the bra
hippies.
burning and the hippies and the
Just
birth control taking over and things like that. And so
And that whole expressionism of people just being themselves or just experimenting. I think there was a
Yeah.
lot of experimenting when it came to
yeah,
drugs and
lots of experiment.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, and a lot of societal experts, things like that, would probably say we're in the fourth wave right now, which really, I don't even know how to describe this one. It kind of plays more into the digital sphere, I guess. because that wasn't a thing back then. So it plays into like the Me Too movement, for example, right? Calling out those famous and high authority men who have been accused of like sexual assault and things like that, and really making sure that there's awareness around that.
I would definitely say this trend that I guess the feminist group is in now, to me, I consider it more like a mob right now more than anything.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. Okay.
Okay.
So we're gonna get to that.
I don't want to step on no toes, but I am. So.
I think with anything in society, with movements, the pendulum always has to swing too far on one end and then the other. So I think you are exactly right. It has become a mob, but it's more of like the radicalized women going more that route. But yeah, that's kind of a brief history of it. But go ahead.
Okay. No, I was just gonna ask you, what do you think that it probably stemmed from, like this little movement? Because I would say from the past 60 years, there has been a progression, but like, where do you think that pendulum is actually swinging and everything, or like, where did it stem from?
My thoughts on that is, it's so complicated, but it's really not. So the thing about it, sometimes when you no longer have anything to fight for, you create things. And so I think that's what's happening now. Because women have every right in the world to do whatever we want. In fact, I can really say in a lot of ways we have more rights than men. We can get away with doing a lot more than men can. Oftentimes, y'all are being held accountable on a higher level to the things that women can more so get away with. That's my belief, my opinion. I have to say that every time because you know how the internet goes. But yeah, because honestly, things like, and this is where a lot of feminists will bring up like, well, what about the gender pay gap and things like that? Well, first of all, I don't believe in the gender pay gap.
Yeah, I don't either. I didn't.
So
I think
that's been
some
debunked
part of
many
time
times.
it definitely was though.
I don't even know if that's a thing that really ever happened, in my opinion, because in general, women have always just done jobs differently than men.
Okay.
In many ways. Like
being a secretary
women
or
work
something?
less hours than men on average. Women work less dangerous and less high paying jobs than men on average. Women usually will take leave from their jobs because of children. We function differently when it comes to jobs because they're not our end all be all. Whereas a man, he has more of a capacity to do that because first of all, he wants to. Second, well, actually, it could be first and second. He's a provider. So men naturally will want to work those longer hours and those more dangerous jobs if it means providing for his family.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, like...
You know what? Just to piggyback a little bit on what you were saying about those dangerous jobs. Do you remember when I was in Iowa and I was like, hey, I wonder who changes out these motors in this, huge little wind turbine. And not saying that a woman can't do it, but 9 times out of 10, those men who climb up those 60,000 feet to just change out their motor, like, in my opinion, a woman wouldn't want to put themselves in that type of position and be by themselves up there, because a lot of times it's definitely that's definitely one of the things that that a man would typically do. So
yeah, no, I completely agree with that, and that kind of brings it back to the feminist movement, right? And how those ideas kind of carried over into a lot of the ways that we think today, including this video I want to get into that we talked about before, but we never showed a clip from it, from Sue Ellen Broder, a former Cosmo writer from the 60s or 70s, I think. And she dives into the way Cosmo printed lies to women about women to promote certain propaganda during that time. And I just think it's really it's really telling the things that I guess we allowed as a society and we're still allowing, even though they've been debunked and they've been told as lies and things of that nature. It's pretty interesting to hear her go that deep into it. So I kind of want to get into that video.
All right. Here comes the video.
Why all of this hijacking of the women's movement? Money. Money. Why was Cosmos so successful? Because it attracted advertisers. Why did it attract advertisers? Because it worked. When a young woman, an insecure young woman, reads these magazines and thinks that she has to have perfume, cosmetics, hair products, beautiful clothes, singles travel, abortions, contraception. When she thinks she has to have all of these things, she's going to spend a lot of money. What these magazines are doing, and what now the internet and everywhere, turning a woman into a commodity. She's got this picture of herself on herself. It's all about me. If you can convince a woman that everything is about her, then she has to buy a whole bunch of stuff to make herself so wonderful. If inside she knows who she is, she doesn't need all that stuff. Now there's the other side of it. I say we're all liberated. Are we? So on one hand, yes, we can go to college, we can get a degree, we can be doctors, lawyers, engineers, we can do all this stuff, we can make all this money. But how liberated are we if our girls have got that in their pocket before they can even think?
That's some heat. I'm not even gonna lie. I definitely wanna just start it off. So one of the key things to me that basically stood out was that the world has made you women think that you all are a commodity, and that's what we're seeing right now, which that leads into what we were talking about earlier, that micro trend. Okay, you need all of these things in order to be important, or within a certain range. Like, hey, I am of value because I look like this, I smell like this, and I'm around these certain type of people. And then that's when you get into what I saw. I think I saw something that kind of went viral. It was this girl who said, hey, in order to go out on a date with me.
Oh, Lord. Are you talking about the Cheesecake Factory lady?
No, but we going to, I mean, that can come down the road, but it's a lady that said, hey, if you want to take me out, I'm actually charging you a $500 fee.
I saw that.
A $500 fee. So,
y'all gotta be trolling at this point.
No.
No, not you. I'm saying, like, these can't be real stories, Continue.
Yeah, so I'm just sitting here thinking, this is what, like, liberation can go so high that you end up just staying there, and then you end up believing on what a magazine has told you that you are. But according to like the word, everything that you have is actually on the inside of you, instead of going out into the world to actually search what would make you beneficial. Like you are already a queen because you were made from a king. Mm-hmm. And he perfectly crafted you to be the best version of yourself, so you can be a reflection to younger women, to yourself, to the future. And it's to me, it's probably the saddest thing that I've been seeing, is that women have accepted themselves being a commodity.
Yeah.
And but people like that label of, hey, I'm a queen, I'm this. I'm not gonna lie, from getting the BBLs, like, yeah, I understand you want to feel good for yourself, but a lot of this stuff is actually not for themselves, because the first thing that they're going to do is get on social media and show it off. Okay, I mean, I'm not trying to rag on anybody, but we see the videos. Like, all right, a girl is in their house record themselves cleaning, and all you see is
The booty.
yeah, all you see is the yams. Can I get to the yams? But